Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're going to tackle one of the absolute most pressing questions of our time. We are going to replace all that fear of the AI job apocalypse with actual, hard data to help you future-proof your career. The landscape of work is shifting, and it's shifting fast. And understanding the precise nature of this shift between now and 2030, well, that's literally the difference between thriving and being left behind.
So let's just dive right into this core anxiety, shall we? It's the headline we see absolutely everywhere, but the reality, which is backed by some seriously extensive research, is much more about a massive, structural transition than it is about total human replacement. It's not just a simple binary of human versus machine. It's really about how the fundamental nature of value creation is changing.
To demystify this massive topic, here is our roadmap. Section 1 is the AI job reality. Section 2, the vulnerable 15%. Section 3 covers reshaping the 55%. Section 4 dives into the explosion of new roles. And finally, Section 5, preparing for the future.
All right, Section 1, the AI job reality, myth versus data.
When we look at the actual economic modeling from the Boston Consulting Group to get the big picture of the roughly 165 million U.S. jobs out there, a really clear reality emerges. While 10 to 15% of jobs face direct substitution by AI, a massive 50 to 55% will simply be reshaped. Meanwhile, about 30% have limited exposure. Think of highly physical roles or jobs requiring intense, in-person human connection, like teaching or complex medical care. So for the vast majority of us, AI isn't going to replace us. It's just going to profoundly change how we work.
To frame how we should think about this, I want to share a quote. As tech CEO Alex Buzari points out, this technological shift is just like moving from horse-drawn carriages to automobiles. The buggy whip industry didn't disappear because people suddenly stopped needing to travel, right? It disappeared because the mode of travel changed. You just need to make absolutely sure you aren't spending your career building better buggy whips when the entire world is moving on to building cars.
Which brings us to Section 2, the vulnerable 15%, the modern buggy whips.
Let's look at the jobs that face genuine substitution in the coming years. The crucial point here is that AI targets roles with highly structured, repeatable tasks that just don't require deep emotional intelligence or complex interpersonal judgment. Think about traditional customer service representatives handling routine account lookups or basic bookkeepers doing data entry. The inputs are totally predictable, the outputs follow strict rules, and crucially, the demand for these specific tasks is bounded or capped. Think about it. A company doesn't suddenly need a million more routine customer service interactions just because they're cheaper to process. Therefore, as AI absorbs these structured tasks, fewer human workers are going to be required in these specific roles.
Moving on to Section 3, reshaping the 55%, the car drivers.
Okay, so what about the majority of us? To understand why these 50 to 55% of jobs actually survive and thrive, you need to understand something called expandable demand. This is heavily tied to an economic concept called the Jevons paradox. Essentially, when making a worker faster and more efficient with AI lowers the cost of their output, it actually creates way more overall demand for their work. It's simple. When things become cheaper and faster to produce, the world usually wants a whole lot more of them.
Let's contrast these two economic forces. On the left, bounded demand roles like basic bookkeeping shrink because a company's need for that output is fixed. But on the right, expandable roles like software engineering or legal services are going to flourish. If AI allows a software engineer to write code 3 times faster, a company doesn't go and fire 2/3 of its engineers. No way! It builds 3 times as many software products. AI handles the routine coding, while the human engineer shifts to higher-level system design and architectural judgment.
Let's jump into Section 4, the explosion of new roles, building the car industry. AI isn't just reshaping old jobs, it's literally birthing entirely new macro industries right before our eyes. As experts from Nexford University and top tech leaders agree, we are about to see billions of dollars flow into brand new sectors. They point out that AI and machine learning will ultimately help workers by creating far more occupations than it replaces. But look, these aren't the jobs you'd find on a traditional college syllabus from 10 years ago. These are roles building the very foundation of the AI era. We're seeing 3 massive growth vectors emerge right now: infrastructure, specialized consulting, and the booming robotics sector. First up, global AI infrastructure. We're talking about building the physical data centers, managing massive power requirements, and setting up compute networks. This is literally building the physical roads for the new AI economy. Second, industry-specific consulting. Organizations have zero idea how to implement AI securely.
They desperately need human translators who understand both the AI tools and the specific, nuanced needs of banking or healthcare or manufacturing. And third, the robotics and omniverse sector.
Let's actually zoom in on that third vector for a second. With billions of robots expected in the real world over the next 15 years, the job creation here is staggering. We need people designing their brains and their software. We need engineers building specialized motors and AI chips. We need people building omniverse environments. If you haven't heard of that, they're basically high-fidelity video game simulations where businesses can train AI models safely before deploying them into the real world. These are going to be some of the most sought-after, top-tier jobs of the 2030s.
And that brings us to Section 5, Preparing for the Future, the Playbook for 2030.
Knowing the landscape is only half the battle, right? Navigating it is what actually guarantees your success. And there is incredible news here for anyone willing to adapt. Legacy knowledge? It's just no longer a barrier. In the past, you had to spend 20 years climbing some rigid corporate ladder just to gain industry secrets. Today, those systems are completely being rewritten. If you start learning these AI tools right now, with an open and curious mind, you can skip decades of corporate gatekeeping. You literally have 1 million free consultants at your disposal via AI to teach you whatever you need to know.
So here is your playbook. Step 1, embrace lifelong learning. Use AI tools daily. Be that person in your office who figures out how to automate the boring stuff. Step 2, double down on your uniquely human soft skills. AI completely lacks complex interpersonal judgment, empathy, and strategic negotiation skills. The more technical the world gets, the more incredibly valuable those soft skills become. And step 3, remain agile. Keep your eye on those expandable demand industries we talked about, like software, advanced consulting, and infrastructure, and start pivoting your skills in those directions.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one vital, truly provocative question to ask yourself when you look at your own daily tasks at work tomorrow morning. I want you to be totally honest with yourself. Are you building buggy whips, or are you learning to build cars? The tools are out there, the map is clear, and the future is waiting for you to go out and build it.